you everyone for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining. Welcome to our Africa ELTA Women's Day event. We have 7 amazing women who are going to present today. They have different topics, which are really great. I hope that everyone will get to go away with something which they can apply in their context. So without wasting any time, we'll start with the first presenter, Abigail. So Abigail Ekangu Awanga is an English language teacher in a state secondary school in the outskirts of Yaoundé, who has been in the field for 16 years. She has a passion for instructional technology, and she trains female English language teachers on how to use basic digital skills and tools for teaching and for managing communities of practice. She is the CAMELTA Award Best CPD Facilitator and the Best Outstanding Female Professional winner for 2021. She's the founder of ELT Women Cameroon Special Interest Group and the present CAMELTA Vice President in charge of international outreach. At her spare time, Abigail and to encourage literacy, she offers free English lessons to kids in her community twice per week. So in a nutshell, that is Abigail. Abigail, I hope you're here. The floor is yours. You can start sharing the screen.
Thank you, Irene, for introducing me. It's an honor for me to be the first person to start this series of female presentations on the occasion of Africa International Women's Day, organized by Africa ELTA. I seize the opportunity to wish a happy Women's Day to all of us here and to all the men who love us and support us. So I was asked by our Africa ELTA president to say something about the special interest group that I run in Cameroon called English Language Teaching Women Cameroon, abbreviated ELTWC. So ELTWC is a special interest group made up of English language teaching females in Cameroon. It was created roughly a year and 2 months ago. And it is an independent special interest group under our mother association, CAMELTA, Cameroon English Language and Literature Teachers Association. So how do we function in our special interest group? We have a founder, which is my humble self. I'm in charge of general supervision. I bring in opportunities. I also try to do training sessions for the women. I help the women the most I can. And I am assisted by 3 special advisors and 2 technical advisors who are very experienced female teachers in Cameroon. It is their role to counsel and guide us in our decision making and also orientate younger colleagues in times of distress. Apart from the 3 special advisors and 2 technical advisors we equally have 10 regional heads because our SIG is represented in all the 10 regions. So each region has a regional head who is in charge of coordinating our activities at the regional level. What are our objectives? As a special interest group made up of only women, we want to help the females attain their potentials by facilitating their active involvement in teaching and community life I would like to underline community life, because we've made the SIG not to be not only professional oriented. We equally want to encourage personal development through social and economic growth. We also want to raise the self-esteem and confidence of our women. There's so many of them with low self-esteem, and we are working hard on that so that they try to gain confidence in themselves. We also try to provide the females with access to professional information, scholarships, training, and mentoring. I want to insist on the word access, because so many of these women were in the blank, and ELT has been helping the females have access to many professional information, scholarships, and trainings. So what are our activities? We have a good number of activities we've been running for over the 1 year we've been existing. Our main activities are being run in our WhatsApp chat group, where we have over 400 females. And there we do a series of presentations weekly, orientated presentations, because amongst us, amongst the 400 of us, we have women teaching different specialties. We have primary school teachers, we have secondary school teachers, technical education teachers, higher education teachers, English as a second language teachers, English as a foreign language teachers. So all of these various categories have a number of women specialized in this, who head these subgroups and then arrange presentations that are being presented in our WhatsApp chat group. That's for the main WhatsApp chat group, because at the regional levels, they also have WhatsApp groups for their regional activities. So apart from the presentations and the activities that we hold in our main group, we equally have professional outings for information. We've done just one for now, because to be able to go out, we need to send invitations, and then we receive emails of acceptance and invitation letters. So it's quite tedious, and it takes time for things like this to happen. The only outing we had was the outing at the American Embassy. We had 25 females represent the SIG from 6 different regions. And the outing was very beneficial for the women, because they were exposed to a lot of professional information they hadn't had access to ever. Some of whom had access but did not know how to go about them for their professional development. So this was an outing that was very fruitful, and so many of those who represented the SIG in this outing have been doing marvelously well in their various regions where they find themselves. So apart from informative outing sessions that we organize, we equally do seminars and trainings, but this comes once every term. We are preparing a seminar and a training at the end of the month of March, which will be at the end of a 3-month academic term here in Cameroon. And that's going to be at the regional level. So all the regional heads are trying to organize themselves so that we can organize various seminars for the first term. Apart from these, we equally have World Days that we celebrate, World Days that have a direct link with English language teaching. The most impressive one we celebrated was the World Mental Health Day, which was on the 10th of October. We had a full week of activities on Mental Health Day. We sensitized teachers, fellow women, and even the male, because mental health is not a gender problem. It affects everybody. But we women felt more implicated, because we are always those who look onto others and always notice when they are bad. And most of the time, we suffer from this mental breakdown without necessarily knowing. So we try to make this an event in our SIG to sensitize the women about mental health disorder and how dangerous it could be, especially to us women. So those are briefly the kind of activities that we try to hold in our special interest group. We also do exist in a multitude of social media, Telegram, WhatsApp. We have a YouTube channel. We exist on Facebook. We have a website. I'm going to share the link to our website at the end of this. So you try to see the various activities that we've been running that I might not have listed during this presentation. Our challenges, we have quite a good number of them. It's not easy to run a group, but I just tried to summarize the challenges that we have running this SIG into some 4. The first one that the first challenge that we encounter is having to convince members to pay for training. Unpaid or free trainings are a result of a whole lot of negotiations. And while still being in the process, women have to learn. And it's very tedious to help women when finances are limited. And most of the time, or sometimes, would ask them to chip in something for logistics. And the turnout is usually very low because people are not yet ready to pay for training. We also have group dormancy. We are a group that functions, I would say, 60% virtual, and most of our activities are being run in the WhatsApp group, and most of the time, the women go dormant for various reasons that we understand. So we try as much as we can to encourage them to be online and to be present online for the various advantages that this has for their profession. We equally have connection issues. Most of the time when we want to do our presentations, it could be a connection problem and a blackout, which can stress the presenter or those who are wanting to follow up. And then we also have crisis zone pace follow-up. We all might know that the Northwest region and the West and the Southwest region are two regions with crisis. So it is a little bit difficult when we have a general activity to run at the national level to follow these two regions, because most of the time they might be in an uncomfortable situation where there's no connection at all, or they can't even go out of their houses. So we always have a setback because we'll be forced either to go to move on without them, or to wait for them. And at times it could be stressful. And then we have this very eternal problem of self-confidence. So many women have so many skills to showcase, but they are not confident enough to do so. And we've been running sessions to help, or a series of sessions to help these women grow in self-confidence. I'm actually running a 6-month therapy session with them, which has been scheduled 1 per month. We've run 2 already, and they have topics that I present to help motivate and stimulate these women to come out in their numbers and show their skills. Our perspectives, well, as a female group, we just want to network with as many women as we can in the whole world. We have a program with Argentina women coming up and the Malian women. Probably before the end of this year, we'll be working with Argentina and Malian women in an exchange program together. We're still negotiating and would be happy to receive invitations from other female groups to work with them. This is all I had to share with you about our special interest group. But before I end this session, I would like to say that ELTA Women has been a marvelous motivational factor to most women. The testimonies would be many if they were here, and if we had the chance to give them the floor to say something about what they've benefited from this exclusively female professional circle. And I think this is something to emulate without trying to be competitive, without trying to make the men feel that we want to surpass their authority or whatsoever. I think it is different when the women come together, because the confidence that they don't have in a larger association or in a mixed association, they do have it when they are together. I hope that I said something interesting. I would like to end here so that we have some questions if possible. And keep to my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. And I would like to assure you that this was interesting, and I hope the audience as well has enjoyed your presentation. It's informative and very interesting to see women doing things for other women around the world. So, my dear participants, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We still have time for Abigail to answer some questions. Abigail, I hope you can see the chat box. There is a question. How can these challenges be overcome and turned into opportunities, especially the self-confidence challenge? You mentioned training sessions, but are they working? That's the question.
Okay, amen. Thank you for asking. Well, like I said, there are so many skills that the women have to share, but they just need some boosting up to stand up and face the crowd. So what I have suggested for a start, apart from the various motivational statements that we post in the group, apart from showing them how to do it by being super active as a leader, I have prepared a 6-month therapy session, and with selected themes to, first of all, start by showing them how to discover your skills, how to select your useful skills, how to showcase those skills, and then how to use those skills to find opportunities. And then we continue from there. So yes, it's working, because I remember after the first session about showcasing your skills, I gave them an assignment to go use what they feel they have as skills in their various schools and bring back feedback. So when we were doing the second therapy session, we had a lot of feedback from women, and I think it's working for the therapy sessions. I hope I answered Amen, except I did not understand the question well.
I'm hoping you did. We have more questions.
Marie, what advice would you give for start together and help female teachers interested? I'm so happy that I could empower someone to want to do like we are doing in Cameroon, and I bet you wouldn't regret it. The advice I can give is just start something virtual. ELT Women started with a WhatsApp group because we just felt we need to belong somewhere first. And because we had a big dream, we wanted to belong nationwide. So we started by creating WhatsApp group, giving an objective to the women to join the group, or giving a reason, a tangible reason to the women to join the group. And when they were convinced, and when we had about 100 females, then we started explaining why we have decided to create a WhatsApp group, what are our ambitions, what are our objectives. And so many of them bought the idea, and here we are. So ELTA, I think you should start with a WhatsApp group, but already have a fixed objective of why you want to create the SIG. I don't mind helping. Someone wants to know if I move on land visits. I didn't understand this. Maybe Suleiman would want to precise what he means by land visit or explain better. Irene can help.
Maybe you can explain it better in the chat box. We had a question from Aidan. How do they really solve the problem to those who don't pay training fee?
It is an everlasting problem. Well, we try to have free sessions. We try as much as we can to have free sessions. And when it's not possible to have free sessions, we do with those who can pay. That's all I can say.
There's a question. Okay.
Why do you think why do you think might be the reason why some female are not okay? We've already answered this. Well, maybe they don't understand the purpose, but every training has a purpose. We always take time to explain why we are doing these trainings, and then maybe they feel that it's not worth it. And like I said, it's not going to be automatic. It's a continuous motivational process to have women understand that growing professionally is good for them. So what has been learned on both sides in your interaction with women in Argentina? Well, this is still a program we are arranging because till now we have not yet been both available for the programs that we do. So we haven't yet done our exchange program. But I'm sure we'll do a report on this immediately we finish this program so that everybody will be able to learn. Suleiman, do I usually visit my colleagues in the interior Cameroon? For now, no, but it is in project for next year because this year was super flooded with other activities. But we've discussed this and we are preparing a tour for 2024. Looks like my time is over. I'll share my email so that questions could continue after here. So I give space to somebody else.
Thank you so much, Abigail, for an informative and great presentation and for answering the questions from the audience.
Thank you too.
Our next presenter will be Lubna. Lubna, if you're around.
Yes, I am here.
Able to share
Are
your
you going
screen?
to share my, yeah. Hello, everybody. This is Lubna. I am from
Please be able
Sudan.
to share your screen, Lubna.
It will take a lot of energy from my telephone and it lacks now energy because of the electricity problems.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I hope I can
I'll share it for you. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
So our second presenter is Lubna. Lubna Hassan is from Sudan. She's the General Director of Sudan National Center for Languages. She is a PhD holder of Applied Linguistics. Recently, she has been elected as the president of ELTA Sudan. She has been always an activist for women's rights and gender issues. So I'll try sharing her PPT. Lubna, I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
The
Yes, I can see it. Yes, we recently established our new English Language Development Association. It's shortening ELTA, Sudan. It's a newly born teacher association and the only formal and registered one in Sudan. Uh, I have to stop here a little and talk about registration. It was a very long journey, complex journey, and we overcome it together. We overcame it together with my colleagues. We were about 10 teachers who started to form this association, teacher association. I'd like to thank the British Council for their contribution and support for this ELDA. Okay, welcome here to Sudan. Um, uh, I'm going to talk a little about politics in Sudan. There are several revolutions. The last one is the 2019 revolution. It ended the reign of Incas regime, which um, was uh, 30 years from our age. It was 30 years in Sudan. The president was Omar al-Bashir. Uh, the the main objectives and essential objectives of this revolution is freedom, peace, and justice. And it was in 2019, as I said, and it was against the dictator Omar al-Bashir. Next, Rosie. Um, Sudanese women in politics. Sudanese women played a very essential role. This role dated back to previous histories. Sudanese women, not just in recent history, played their roles, but still they played it in the earliest when there was Kandaka. Kandaka, this was a name uh, for the queen. There were a lot of queens in the Nubian era in Sudan. And we have Kandaka, it means Queen Amani Rinas. He, she ruled the country for a lot of years, and she was from the Nubian tribes from the 40 BC and ruled until 10 AD. And she fought against the Roman, and she conquered the battle. She lost her eyes, by the way, in this battle. So Sudanese women were in politics from the very early time in our history. Next, please, Rose. Um, Still, we have roles in history, but we have some challenges. We have a lot of threats and problems connected with our system in Sudan. One of the challenges is lack of some or a lot of things. I can just give a summary of our problems nowadays and challenges. They are lack of awareness of women's issues and lack of gender sensitivity in the media. And we don't have a united women's, one united women platform. We need it badly so as to overcome women's problems in Sudan. Also, the education system and the education curricula is not very much friendly to gender. It's not gender sensitive at all. We have these challenges in Sudan. Still, I'm going within the challenges, talk about the role of women. Next, Rose. Women played a very important role during history, and now in the recent time, women played a very important role in the revolution. Every demonstration in Sudan started with a noise for a women noise. This noise is called Zaghruda in Arabic. People always make this noise so as to congratulate or some sort of things. So every demonstration started with the woman noise call, and when women do it, I can imitate it. It's like, and then a lot of people come from all other or the other streets. They are collected together and they march. So it seemed very difficult for the security when they gather with this noise to distract them or to take them to jail. So this was a very essential role during the revolution in Sudan. Next, please, Rose. Okay, we see women sitting together. We have a lot of conflicts in Sudan, and we had a very long civil war in the south until Sudan divided into two countries, South Sudan and Sudan. And we still having now problems in the west of Sudan, where there are a lot of warring areas together, the civilian and the militia, and still they are in war. Women are the most affected by wars, of course. They fought and they are still fighting for inclusive, transparent, and informative peace. They need it badly. The UN and the other UN Women and the other international organization uh, contributed very much in the track of women, and it has women with a lot of things. So women got some some type of let's say of the rights. One of the rights that they sat into the tables of negotiation. But if the goal of a peace process is only to end violence, then women who are rarely the belligerents are unlikely to consider legitimate participants. If the goal is to build peace, however, it makes sense to gain more diverse inputs from the rest of society. Next, the peace process. Women must represent their agendas in the peace agreements, and it is very essential for women to take into account while people are talking and negotiating for their agreements. When representing women, women is not just one or homogeneous group in any country. There should be kind of representation for different types of women, putting into account their ethnic, religious, linguistic, and other concerns. So now the female play a very good type of uh, uh, fighting for their rights, but still they lag behind. Now, female protesters are abused by males verbally and physically, presuming they lack abilities and are incapable of protecting themselves. Also, sexual violence has been used as a weapon to crush resistance by the military. So the peace process is not during only wars. We still need peace in our community and in our everyday life. Next, now we have some demands. We need laws that are friendly to women. We have some problem with the laws. There is one law in Sudan. It was during al-Bashir time, Ryan. This law gave the even the army or the police or anyone who is from the forces, they give this right gives them the right to whip women with whippers because of, for example, wearing trousers or because of coming late from their work, like nurses. So women struggle a lot for their legal rights. So we have some demands legally, the amendment of laws which discriminate women. And we need new laws depending on the UN Security Council Resolution 1325, which is particularly for women. In terms of political and social life, we need women to be represented and participate in decision-making process and peace-building process. We need women to be raised in terms of their awareness and build their capacity, particular for the future election in Sudan. Now we have transitional period and they are going to have elections soon. Women have to be very near to this election process. We need to build equality in society through the educational curricula. We need also to enhance Sudan causes, not just for women, all Sudan causes in the international media, as Sudan is not represented very much in the international media. Some people have never heard of the country Sudan. Next. Women participation in peace process, more than half of peace processes that reach an outcome lapse back into conflict within the first 5 years. Women activists show that traditional models cannot be justified by existing assumptions about what works and what does not. Young Sudanese female protestants are adapting brilliant ways of mobilizing. They are organizing now the female protest groups using the digital tools, networking, using technologies, social media, which consider this is also a fruitful process young ladies in Sudan are taking. Next. Okay, that's all I think about my talk. I hope we all reach our goals. Again, I congratulate all of you, women and men, with this International Day. And I feel we can reach, since we are working on these issues, we can reach our goals sometime. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. I really liked your presentation since you started taking us through history, where you began, how women were involved in politics, and you also told us about the challenges. And at the end, I really liked when you said that you have the young generation of women who are currently using technology to at least speak up. So I really liked that. So for the audience, please, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box so that our presenter can be able to answer them. Thank you so much, Lubna.
I think there is one question connected with ELTA's work. We in ELTA, the association, would like to make a SIG group, and we have already make our first publication with some women's causes and some women articles. The next publication will be a celebration for Women's Day. We are going to make our SIG so as to discuss the problems of women and to indulge it into learning and teaching so as to enhance the teachers to make their lesson plans. We cannot, in fact, wait for the ministry until they make curriculum sensitive to gender. so we can make our own lesson plans where women are involved and are there. That's for this question. What else? Thank you, Deborah Suarze. Thank you, Linda. Okay, well, we don't have two Sudans. We have one Sudan. Question for Soleimani Kolibali. Sudan is one country, Sudan, but it divided into South Sudan, this one country, and the other one is called Sudan. I am from Sudan. Is there any affirmative action or positive discrimination to help reduce the gap? Yes, there are affirmative action. There is a lot of women now working together, by the way, with men about the problems of women, and they make process together with the help of the international campaign. They help us a lot in that. I am also glad to see you, Abigail, here. I hope to make I want to participate together with Cameroon women. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Alan. Ayman, Sheikh, thank you. Good luck for all of us. That's all in the chat, I think, if I don't miss anyone. Yes, Rose, I think that's the end for me.
Thank you so much. I would let you go because I know you have some problems with electricity. Thank you for presenting and thank you for being here.
I will be in until it is off. My mobile is off. So it's interesting to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So everyone will have a short break and then we'll come back for our next presenter. A very quick short break. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Our next presenter is Christelle. Christelle, are you here? You're muted.
Hello, I am here. Good afternoon.
Thank you. So Christelle Joku works as a teacher at the Government Bilingual High School, Komsamba too. She has 7 years of experience in teaching English and French as foreign languages. She has a master's in social linguistics from the University of Yaoundé 1. So that's Christelle in a nutshell. Christelle, you're welcome. I'm going to share your PPT. Then I'll give you the floor. Can you see the screen, Crystal?
Yes, but it's not full screen.
It's okay. The floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christian Drupo. I am English and French teacher from Cameroon, and I'm happy to present today. And I don't trust my connection so much, so I will stop my camera, but still, you will still hear me. And I hope you will enjoy the presentation. So the topic of my presentation is gender roles and their impact on women autonomy. Before I go into the matter, I would like us to get familiar with two key words, sex and gender. So for the next slides, we are going to define sex and gender. Next slide, please. Okay, so gender can be defined as the social differences in the way that male and female are expected to behave. That's gender. And sex is the biological and genetic differences between men and women of all age. It means that sex is biological, whereas gender is a socially constructed something, roles, responsibilities, behavior, socially constructed. Sex does not vary between and within culture, whereas gender vary within and between culture. Sex is we are born with, whereas gender is learned. So again, sex does not change naturally, unlike gender, which change over time. So with this definition, this is the key word that I want us to have in the back of our mind as we proceed. It means that when I say, maybe for example, if I say girls have breasts, does it refer to sex or gender? Please write in the chat box. When I say girls have breasts, does it refer to sex or gender? Please write your answer in the chat box. I want this presentation to be as interactive as possible. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, please? Okay. Somebody saying when they say girl has breast related sex, yes, beautiful. Then when they say women are sensitive, women are sensitive, is it related? That is a behavior. Is it related to their sex or their gender? Youth is related to their gender. Beautiful, Alan. So it means that apart from the fact that women can give birth to babies and breastfeed them, both men and women are the same. So let me introduce my presentation itself. Today, 8 March is the International Women's Day, which is the day when men and women sit together to reflect on women's challenges and struggle, celebrate women's achievements, and seek for more solutions to accelerate gender equality for a positive change for all. The choice of this topic is to bring to light the impact of gender roles on women's autonomy, well-being, and participation to the development of our society. Gender roles are based on what we call gender norms, and these gender norms are social rules that tell us what it means to be a girl or a boy, a man or a woman. That's what gender norms are. So what do we mean by gender role? Next slide, please. Gender roles refers to socially constructed roles, behavior, activities, and attributes that a given society consider appropriate for men and boys versus women and girls. So what does that mean? It means that these roles differ from one society to another. The roles are not the same. For gender roles in Cameroon and maybe in the US are not the same. Okay, so let us look at some examples of gender roles, of what gender roles look like. Before we go into it, I would like us to look at this quote by Simone de Beauvoir, who says, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. It means that when you come to birth, you are not a woman, you are just a human. It's gender roles, it's the way society shaped you, shaped your behavior, that makes you become a woman as we know, or a man as we know what a man is. And talking about this gender role, I will count a little story that happened to me. It's not a fake story. So the first time I had to present, I was preparing my slide. I was in my mother's house, and I was busy doing my slide and so and whatsoever. My younger brother, he's 6 years younger than me, he came back from his work, and I was doing my work. And my mother asked me, "Did you give food to your brother?" I said, "I'm working." She said, "But you can stop for 5 minutes and give him food." I said, "He can serve himself. Why should I stop what I'm doing?" She answered, she said, "How can a woman be there and a man enter into the kitchen?" I stopped what I was doing and I said, he's 6 years younger than me, and you are calling him a man and asking me to go and serve him food. So you see, this is one example of how gender roles and stereotypes are so deep into our culture, into our way of living. So some of the example of gender role and stereotypes that I've listed is just basic one. What they talk about personality traits, gender roles, according to gender roles, men are supposed to be self-confident, they're aggressive, they are messy, stuff like that. Women are accommodating, they're emotional, they are sensitive. Those are some of the things. So in the chat box, tell me, if I remove this adjective, if I remove this adjective or this personal trait, if I put maybe aggressive in the woman box, would it still be accurate? It will still be accurate, yes or no? Please answer in the chat box. If I remove self-confidence from the men's side and I put it in the women's side, is it still accurate? Yes, it is. Yes, women can also be aggressive. Women are also self-confident. So you see that all these gender roles are just, excuse me, the term, are just nonsense. Now, when they talk about gender roles in terms of occupation, when they talk about occupation, society say that men profession that are more like men something, like pilot, drivers, doctor, engineers. And please, can a woman not be a pilot? Yes, she can. Does she have all the things that are required to be a pilot? Yes, she can. If you teach a woman how to be a pilot, she will do it. A woman can drive truck, a woman can be engineer, a woman can be whatsoever she likes. And I can't fail to acknowledge that there are significant improvement in this type of seeing women in terms of occupation for men and women. It is true, but my main concern is domestic behavior. That's where I would like us to lay more emphasis in this group. I know that most of us, we are ladies, maybe we are married ladies, so that's why I wanted to lay more emphasis on gender roles with regard to domestic behavior. Look at one the man does in our society. I'm talking about my context, so maybe it cannot be the same truth maybe in America or in France, or I don't know, but here you are talking about Cameroon, you're talking about Africa. In Africa or in Cameroon, the men are the one who take care of the finance, work on the car. When the car has a problem, is the man who will go and look for it. When there are some home repairs, some things to do in the house, is the man. This is true. You won't disagree with me. But can a woman also repair a car? Yes. Can a woman also, I don't know, when the bulb is not going, can she remove it and replace it? Yes, she can. Now, talking about the finances, nowadays women contribute financially. It's not like in those days. Nowadays women contribute financially, sometimes 50-50, and even sometimes you see in a household, the woman is the one who is more financially strong than the woman, than the man. But when it comes now to house, to domestic chores, it's always the woman who is doing who is doing the most difficult part, taking care of the children. This takes so much time, so much energy. Cooking, cleaning, ironing, mopping, all the ink that you know, these are done by women. And even not just women, even young girls in the house. When we have young girls in the house, you will see statistics show that young girls from 10 to 12 years old spend 21 hours per week doing household work. Why she's doing it? Her brother is doing what? Her brother is learning how to fix things. He's fixing things. He touches this and touches that and learn how to do it. And later on, we said that science or manipulating things is just for boys. It's not for boy. Boy, in the course of their growth, boy have had enough time to learn this thing while the girl was in the kitchen. You see, so this way of the impact of gender roles on women can be seen in three various aspects. So I'll look at the consequences or the impact of gender role in three main aspects. Next slide, please. So I'll look at the impact of gender roles on women on the physical aspect, mental aspect, and the financial aspect. For the physical aspect, gender roles, especially domestic work, has so many consequences on women. And you know, most of the time, us women, we don't even realize this, because this has become part of us. It's like it's normal. So we are doing it because I don't know why we feel like we must do it. It is what we're supposed to do. And this on our physical, you will see that women fatigue, insomnia, injury. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, men that are here, when we are cooking, sometimes we can hurt ourselves. We can, when we are chopping onions like that, at times we can confuse the onion with our hands. So you see other stuff like that. So also on the physical side, early aging. This causes early aging. You will see they say that women get older. Women get old faster than men. Why? Have you ever sit and said that? Why is it that you see a 25-year-old girl and 25 years old boy on weight? And oh, my wife, she's not. It's all of this. All of this is the cause are caused by gender roles. So after the physical aspect of it, which is the mental aspect. So next slide, please. So cleaning these days, a mental work. Women are always planning in their heads, are always thinking of what they will do next, I'm sure that as I'm speaking now, there's a woman, I'm sure at least one woman in this webinar who is thinking, did I remove the chicken from the freeze? Did I? That's how women are in their head. They are always thinking, planning. So this gender role that you see them doing is not just a physical aspect, it's also a mental load attached to it. And this mental load causes anxiety, stress, depression, burnout, irritability, low self-esteem. When I talk about irritability, you see some of the men, some men will complain, my woman, she's always in a mood. She's always, yes. And she's not even aware that it's all this workload that is making her to have this irritability, this stress, this anxiety. So apart from mental consequence, we also have the financial consequence. Next slide, please. Due to these gender roles, women are not as financially rich, let me say, as women. Yes, Stephanie, I can see your comment. So because of this gender role, you will see that there is a higher rate of absence of women from work. For example, if they call you that your baby in school, maybe she's having a problem in school, they will call the mother. Or even when they call the mother, or even when they call the father, he will call the mother and say, please go and check. So it means that what she was doing, if she was maybe in her store, she will have to leave the store and go and look for the baby. And then you see the consequence: low salaries, low rate of employment, low rate of participation in professional development. You see, sometimes they say women don't do this. They don't have time. They don't have time to think about themselves. But ladies, I would suggest you that if you don't have time to go for face-to-face professional development activities, look for online stuff. When you have a bit of time, work on your professional development group. Don't let this gender role make you forget your own self. And also, as a consequence, financially, we have higher rate of unpaid work, such as caring for sick relative. For example, if your mother-in-law is sick, the husband will not go there for 2 weeks and look after her. It's the woman. And when she's there, is she financially capable of doing something? Not at all. All her finances are on the waiting list. So these are some of the consequences, ladies and gentlemen, of gender roles on women. So what I would propose, what are some of the recommendations that I will give to men, or I mean to everybody? Next slide, please. This solution are not it's just an attempt, hoping that I'll make sense to at least 2 or 3 women here to start rethinking about this. So to women, my ladies, I will start with this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." It means that we have accepted this situation somehow. We have normalized this. We have normalized that we have to overwork, to overstress ourselves. So as recommendation, my ladies, I will tell you, stop being confined in gender roles and see yourself as human beings, not women. Stop seeing yourself as women. Say we are not women no more. We are now human beings. Okay? Remember that you are not your husband's mother. I'm sick when I'm saying this, but you are not your husband's mother. Both of you are partners. Do you know how they call men in Pidgin English in Cameroon? We call them man picking. Man picking means a grown-up baby. We are still taking your husband like men picking. Stop taking them like men picking. They are just men. Allow them to do things. Give them things to do. Stop being their mothers. Be yourself. Be their partners. The other recommendation is entrust somehow work to them and some family obligation, and trust them. What do I mean, ladies? If you say, you are in charge of the breakfast, forget about it. Don't call him and say, did you buy the butter? Did you check whether we still have eggs? Trust him. Forget about that other side. Move on with your life. Don't call him and say, have you done this? Have you? If you say, dear husband of mine, you are responsible of breakfast every morning. Don't check whether there's still butter in the fridge or not. It's none of your business. Don't think about it, dear ladies. Allow him. Allow him. Stop treating him like a man picking. Allow him to take this role seriously. Another point is raise your children without any bias. So in the house, don't do like my mother who asked me to go and serve my little brother. Please, ask your boys to do this. Ask your boys to mop the floor. Ask them to fry their eggs. Ask them to do things. When you are traveling in the house and you have all your kids are there, the elder should be the one in charge of the cooking, not the girl. If the elder is the girl, good and fine. If it's not, the boy will do the cooking. Another thing that I recommend is set your personal goals and work towards achieving them. We are all teachers here, most of us. If you want to do something, do it. If you want to apply for a scholarship, don't apply. My ladies, I recommend you to be selfish. I call it positive selfishness. Don't feel guilty to think about yourself from time to time. Develop in you positive selfishness. Think about yourself. Your house will not fall because you went for 6 months, maybe 6 weeks. I don't say 6 months, 6 week professional development, something. Don't feel guilty for that. Look for these opportunities and go for them. Then, so the other recommendation I'll give is to men. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. To men that I love so much. Before I give you recommendation, men, know that gender equality is not a fight towards your masculinity. Okay, this is for all of us. This is for all of us. So I will ask you, men, to develop positive masculinity. It means that learn to express your feelings, learn to be human. Stop being aggressive. I'm the man. Stop that. Stop that. Express your feeling, and at times cry. Men, at times cry. You see, women, those heart attack and stuff like that. It's mostly men, because us women, we know how to express our feelings, to let them out. Men don't cry. Men don't do this. My dear men, take it like a serious advice today. Cry, and you will see how it feels good. And that does not make you a woman. It makes you a human. The other advice to men I will give is participate 100% in household management with the mental load attached to it. It means that if you're in charge of breakfast, as I was saying, think about doing the groceries, buy the things, do your stuff. And another aspect, I would say, treat your children without any bias. My men that I love so much. When you have a car, why is it that when you want to go for maybe a little town in the town, you call your male child, call your female, call your girl, come and do this? Because that's how boys learn to drive. Some boys don't need to go to driving school. They learn from their father. But the girls, the father hardly say, my girl, come, let us go and do. Learn how to make your girls also do such activity with you. And I say, give room to your wife to be autonomous and genuinely support her personal aspiration. You can look for grants. You can look for grant and even apply on her behalf and say, my lady, I've applied for this for you, you will go. Encourage her to continue her study. If you are a lady here and you are married to your schoolmate, maybe you people meet when you were doing a bachelor degree, and that man is now a PhD and you are still a bachelor degree, my lady, you are failed. You are failed somehow. And you too, the man, you are failed. It means that you were selfish. And that's why I was asking my ladies that try to develop in you positive selfishness. How come your classmate is not PhD holder and you are still you are his wife, and then you are in the house, you are just there. They call you Madam PhD. You are busting around. You are not Madam PhD. It's not your PhD. It's your husband's PhD. Okay. So another advice to men is participate in the fight for women's rights, because human rights are human rights. I hope you're understanding me. So this is not a fight men against women. No, it's a fight for human rights. To the civil society, next slide, please. To the civil society, I'll just say gender equality. This is a quote by Grasa Machel. Gender equality is the goal that will help abolish poverty, that will create more equal economies, fairer society, and happier men, women, and children. Happier men, women, and children. It means what? It means that gender equality will benefit all of us. So the civil society, make all the actors of the civil society, please make sure that the media share positive image. Make sure that the media does not reinforce stereotypes, for example. Or I know that some people here are big people, maybe they have NGOs or stuff like that. Please when there are opportunities, like maybe scholarship, like maybe like something like the Fulbright or things like that, please, when it comes to age limit, favor the women. When you say, for example, Fulbright, the age limit is 35, it's not fair. It's not fair because it's within 35 to 40 years that the woman is maybe she's free. She's free from being a woman. Okay, so when there are opportunities for age limit, there should be a special age limit for women so that they can apply. It's as that it is in their 40s that the women are really ready for this. They have time. Their babies are all grown up. They can now apply for this. So it's frustrating that the age limit stop them from doing that. So if I'm making sense now, if somebody can share this message, can spread this message to whom it concerns, please make opportunities more accessible to women by expanding the age limit. So I will conclude my presentation. I will conclude my presentation, and I will not conclude it as a normal conclusion. I will sing my conclusion. I will sing my conclusion. Today is Women's Day, right? Today is Women's Day, so I have all the rights. So my conclusions, my ladies, if you know this song, just unmute yourself. Let us sing together. For women who know this song, let us conclude this presentation together. So please unmute yourself, and I count from 3. We will sing the conclusion of my presentation.
Can you put-
Have you unmuted yourself? Can we sing? Okay.
Yeah.
All across the nation. 1, 2, sing. All across the nation. All around
the world,
women are longing to
be
be
free, no longer in the shadow, forced to
stay behind.
stay behind. But
Good.
side by
Side by side,
side,
equality. So sing a song for women everywhere.
everywhere.
Let it
Let it rain.
never,
So sing a song.
never
Good.
go to sing.
Remember
And
and peace.
everywhere equality.
No. Okay, let me sing my conclusion alone now. All across the nation, all around the world, women are longing to be free, no longer in the shadows, forced to stay behind, but side by side in true equality. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention. My email address is christiandrupo@gmail.com. You can contact me if you have any question. Thank you very much, and happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Christelle. Thank you for singing the song and making us all sing along. And thank you for a powerful and interesting presentation. You made a point, and I really liked when you said at the end that this is not a war, it's not a fight between men and women. We should all work together, help each other, and support one another. So that goes to the men and women in the room. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
If you have any questions, we have a
Okay.
few minutes for questions. I hope you can see the chat box.
Yes, thank you so much for your nice comments. Is there a question I can see? There's so many comments. Anyway, there's so many reactions. I can't really.
Mhm.
The conclusion was wonderful. Even I don't see questions, so
Let us give them time, at least a minute. Maybe they're
okay.
typing.
Okay. So should we consider gender roles as a standard or not? Gender roles are not a standard. They are socially constructed. We have to deconstruct them in as much as they are favoring one gender and making and putting too much stress and work on other gender. So they are not standard. They are socially constructed. So we need in our daily life deconstruct them. It will start in our home. You is Fallon, okay. Fallon gas. You start in your house. You start treating your boys and the girls equally, giving them the same power, the same wings to fly. So gender roles are not a standard. I don't really know what to say. Thank you very much, Suleiman. Thank you so much. For me, saying that gender is led at the boy. No, I said boys and girls are different when we talk about sex, their sex. But when we talk about gender, and I say gender roles are socially constructed behaviors. It's about behavior. It's not about their sexual organism or what. It's behavior. Recommendation for women having access to professional. If you have a 1 month something, look for maybe you have an aunt, maybe your mother is still alive. Leave your children there and go. I once had this type of opportunity and I was so bad to leave my son. I was so bad. I said, should I go? Should I not go? Oh, so I went. The first week he was sick, but 2 weeks later, when I was calling him, I say, how are you? Are you enjoying yourself there? So when you are feeling guilty that, oh, this baby boy, oh, this, but when after 1 week, 2 weeks, they'll forget about you. And here you see, if you were there waiting for, I don't know, you would have lost the opportunity. So whenever you see an opportunity, think about what I said. Think about positive selfishness. Look for a way that you will leave your children in good hands. Their father and maybe a niece or something, and go. Prioritize yourself. Prioritize your health. Prioritize your growth. It's about you. I said, stop being women, start being human.
Thank you so much, Christelle. And now I would like to welcome Kariman to continue moderating the next presentation. Kariman, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Irene. So I will continue now moderating the webinar. So I was just enjoying listening to all the presentations. And now we are going to start the next presentation, Female Leadership Identity, the Power of Voice and Agency. It is going to be by Dr. Dua Rashid and Dr. Debra Suarez, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay, so Dr. Dua, she is a PhD holder and associate teaching professor, director language engagement and co-director language and social justice at Rutgers University. She also served as director for MA TESOL program, a co-director TESOL teacher professional training programs at University of Maryland, Baltimore, and a former president of Maryland TESOL. Dr. Debra Suarez, she is, of course, the incoming president-elect of TESOL International. She has been a classroom teacher, university professor, international educator, and senior U.S. federal advisor. Dr. Suarez currently supports the equity portfolio in the U.S. Department of Education and White House Initiative for Asian Americans. A seasoned TESOL professional, Debra now focuses on mentoring others and developing the next generation of global ELT leaders. As such, Debra's current research and current lectures and her upcoming books focus focus on leadership, advocacy, and mentoring of English language teachers worldwide. So please let us welcome both speakers. And now, okay, so the floors.
Can I have access to allow to
Yes.
share my screen? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so now I think both of you can share your screens, correct?
Correct. Is it
Okay.
projecting?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much for having us today. And thank you for being here. My name is Dua Rashid, or Dawa Rashid, as most my American friends call me. I know it's a difficult name. I am the director of the Language Engagement Project and co-director of the Language and Social Justice at Rutgers University in New Brunswick.
On a validé même ton thème là, ça pouvait faire une présentation de toute la journée. Il y avait des questions. Tu connais quand je se soutenir là, c'est comment? Oh,
I am also a former president of Maryland TESOL, an affiliate of the TESOL International in Maryland. I served my role in 2014. I've had almost over 20 years of teaching experience, both in the classroom, public schools, adult learners in Egypt and in the United States. And what else? Well, and I'm here with this amazing group of women and men who are celebrating Women's Day. Thank you so much. Happy Women's Day to everyone. There is a joke in my country that says, there is no such a thing as a Women's Day. The whole year is ours. So keep that in mind as we move forward. I would like to introduce my colleague, Deborah Suarez. Deborah?
Yes, thank you, Doa. Hello, everyone. Happy Women's Day. And it's an absolute honor to be here. Thank you for including me and us. So our topic for today is female leadership identity, the power of voice and agency. This is a topic that Doa and I have been working on for about 2 years now. And our work is very much informed by women from around the world, such as all of the women here today. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just to sort of contextualize how we're approaching the work here, we look at leadership. So for a moment, if you can please think about how you see leadership, and we'll share how we see leadership. Leadership is the process of envisioning, initiating, and guiding change. There are many books about leadership. There are many definitions about leadership, but Doa and I together, and as informed by the women that we work with, we have focused on leadership as envisioning, initiating, guiding change. Okay, maybe we can mute that. Oh, great, thanks. So we're looking at leadership as transformational leadership. There's a reason or a purpose why we engage in leadership activities. And that's because we have some sort of a vision, something that we want to affect. Thank you. So we want to accomplish a purpose. One more click, second click, influence and impact. And we are very fortunate to start our presentation after these amazing women who have presented. Abigail, Crystal, and Lubna, you've shared your visions. You're asking the important questions. You're challenging norms. You're challenging ways of what has been considered common wisdom. And that's also how Doa and I have been approaching our work. So as we move forward, think about what is the primary objective of leadership? What is your purpose for engaging in leadership activities? What does it say about your vision and what you hope to accomplish? Because as we move forward, we're talking about how then we as women can develop a leadership identity to impact what it is we want to have an effect upon. Doa, to you.
So to see the relationship between what we're talking about here and what our colleagues have been presenting so far, and the topic coming in this webinar. Let me give you a quick background. Throughout my career, I have met wonderful women who have done more than they are expected from them to help me and support me and guide me as I moved from Egypt to the US as a graduate student, and then starting as a professor at the university, and then branching out to engage in different professional development opportunities in professional organizations, both in Maryland and TESOL International. And this experience have really inspired me to see what is it that makes somebody, especially that these women have their own struggles and challenges as well. What made them take that extra, time to helping me and helping others as well. That's when a few years back I wanted to look at leadership identity. What makes us the way we are? How do we perceive ourselves? How do others perceive us? And then what challenges do we face when we do this? So leadership identity really refers to how leaders become leaders. You don't have to have a title. You don't have to have the director of or the president of to be. It's nice to have those because it gives you access to many resources that you can, at your disposal. But what makes you try to volunteer to do your work, advocate for another group of people, take the time to go to a workshop or do a training program so that you become more professional at your work, learn new strategies. All of these initiatives that are coming from within, what makes us do this and take all those extra responsibilities. We believe that leadership identity is the extent to which an individual self-defines as a leader. So that comes from within first, and then considers the leader role as a central part of who he or she is. In that sense, to feel from inside that I would like to take those leadership roles, it doesn't have to do anything that has anything to do with a job title or a responsibility that I have on my job. When we look at women specifically, we realize that women formulate their leadership identities within restrictive social contexts that challenges their self-perception of themselves. And the presentation that we listened to so far really tell us the real stories of wonderful leaders and in their context, be that within their schools, within their professional groups, within the entire country. Most of you are leading organizations and groups that serve women and men in your entire country, not just also in the local context. And we do this based on our self-perception of who we are as leaders and our leadership potential. Meaning that when we decide to take on an initiative and a new initiative, it's coming from who we feel we are, who we perceive ourselves, but also for where we want to be. So there's a purpose here in what we are doing. We want to accomplish something out of this. We want to advocate for a different group. We want to support somebody. We want to build the structure for something that will continue after years when we are no longer in this role. So in that sense, women should construe, self-author, and articulate who they are as they move forward in those leadership roles. In other words, we can't just keep taking on more responsibilities without having a vision of what it is that means to be a leader. What is it that makes me a leader? Not just us as women, but me as an individual, as a professional in my field, as a liaison in my community, and as a whatever job that I have. So it's all connected with each other. Deborah?
Yes, thank you, Doa. So let's take a moment to sort of retrace where we've been. So we started out with the definition or the approach to leadership that we've been working with, which is to have an impact, to cause an impact somewhere. And then we've moved into the literature of identity, which is Doa's particular area of expertise. And so as women, it's really important. We're not born leaders, we become leaders, much as Crystal had shared that we're always in the process of becoming. So now looking at leadership, what it is we want to impact, how we want to have an effect based on our vision for a better future, how do we develop our own leadership identity? And so as we think about developing our own leadership identity, especially as women, it's important to think about what are some of those barriers. Now here, we're going to invite all of you, please, to think about this question and put your thoughts in the chat box. So what are some barriers to women's leadership identity? As you're developing your leadership identity, as you're trying to practice your leadership, what are some barriers that you run up against on a daily basis within your own context? I know that Lubna shared that some barriers could be that we don't see gender sensitivity in the curriculum, for example. And so that's a barrier. So let's take a minute and please put in the chat, what are some contextual barriers in your own context to developing leadership? So I'll give you some thoughts that what Doa and I have, been working on this project for, as I said, for about 2 years now, and we have been working with women from around the world. So the ideas are very much internationally context, but I'll share with you, just to get the thoughts going, some of the ideas that women have shared from around the world. So for example, one example of a barrier to leadership development is being interrupted during a meeting. How many of us have experienced that? If we're sitting around the room and we're sharing ideas, and as we're speaking, someone interrupts us or talks over us, right? Silences us. Or what about, okay, we see something here. Socialization is a barrier to leadership development. Thank you for that comment. So yes, socialization, we are given these norms, these common wisdoms, and then we're supposed to follow it, such as perhaps women need to take on all of the work of the household, as Crystal was sharing. Mawa shares bias, maternity, stigma, and seniority. Those are a lot, yes. I especially appreciate that stigma. Again, that idea of these outside ideas pushing in. Then another thought, some men are reluctant having women in executive positions. Yes, there is definitely the barrier of some men's perceptions and women's perceptions also. Cultural heritage, really fascinating responses, because all the responses together, I think, really highlight what we're talking about here, that there are these imposed restrictions upon us quite often, imposed from the outside. So what we're talking about here, and I'll build on Crystal's presentation, challenging those often held norms, what's considered to be norm. So some other barriers that we have heard: having your ideas taken from you. Have you ever experienced that? You're in a room, you're with other folks, other teachers, and maybe you would express a thought and it's a great idea, but nobody seems to respond to that. But then someone else will say that same idea. Crystal's shouting yes. Someone else will say that same idea, but it's yours, but you don't get the credit for it. Yep, I'm seeing that exactly. Yes, and that could be seniority. Someone with more seniority, as Mawa has shared. Maybe they take those ideas. Some men believe that women must have only some jobs. Yes, again, that outside imposition. Some other barriers that we've seen. How about low value work? Sometimes in the professional context, women are given a lot more work to do, and sometimes it's low value work. I can remember when I first started as a brand new assistant professor, we were at meetings and I was a full-fledged member of the faculty, but somehow I was given the job of taking notes during the meeting, typing them up. And I see Doa laughing. Maybe you've experienced that. I was basically made the secretary. Someone says true. Now, I kind of turned that around and I used that as an opportunity to get my name known. I blasted out the notes. I made sure to sign those notes with my name. But that's an example of a low value work being given to me. And I just, then someone else says I had the same experience. Those can be barriers if we don't try to change them into opportunities. Extra work, often we're given extra work. Somehow women, and how about this? Women always feeling that no matter how much we achieve, we're always having to prove ourselves always having to prove ourselves yet again. And then Mawa adds, women serving coffee to men, being put in the, you may be a professional equal, but then you're put in the position of serving coffee. So there are other challenges, interruptions being made invisible, and all of these difficulties. Now, the pandemic, of course, exacerbated or worsened some of these challenges. For example, working from home and learning, needing to learn new technology. And finally, and this is the work that Doe and I have been doing together, finally, these barriers experienced by women can be worsened with the intersection of language, ethnicity, and I saw that in the chat box. Someone had said ethnic groups. These barriers experienced by women as we develop our leadership identities can be worsened by ethnicity, conflict, language, and transnationalism. Well, thank you for participating in that. And so let's move on. Doa, back to you.
Thank you, Deborah. So we talked about the challenges that women face, and just by taking a minute to share our experiences, we sort of like covered so many similarities with some distinguished differences that are specific to our context. The one thing that I wanted to add, and I'm surprised that I didn't see it, which is a good thing, is that no one talked about how sometimes the challenges come from our women colleagues, not just men. It's a struggle that women, I think, need to work on, that we have to understand that we should be support for each other, not to add to the challenges that we face at the work. And by lifting someone who is sitting next to me and their office is next to mine, I'm actually lifting myself. So together we rise, if you want to use that expression. So the more we reflect on the experiences and the barriers and the challenges that we have, usually that reflection would lead us to understand the specific issues related to our own self-advocacy. Why are we not where we want to be, and how we can reach that point? That's the power of self-reflection, either self as an individual reflection or a group reflection, that like the exercise we just did now. That takes us to two key points here that we want to discuss: the voice and agency. When you are in the workplace, we tend to, as you mentioned, all of you mentioned, that our voices are not heard, our ideas are not appreciated. We are not invited to important meetings unless we're asked to take notes. And how can we make sure that our voice is heard? When we talk about voice, we're referring to you as a woman in your workplace being present at the time when a decision is being made, and your voice is taken on, your ideas are considered for discussion, fair discussions that may lead to your ideas being accepted or denied, but at least you went through exactly the same fair process of discussing your ideas, and to be part of the process in shaping decisions that are usually coming back to affect us. Agency usually refers to being able to make those decisions about your own life. So it's not necessarily about your life at work and the decisions that will affect you and other people, but agency refers to making decisions related to your own life. And if you look at the examples that some of our colleagues shared earlier today, there was that women at home, women at work, women making decisions about their productive rights, their decisions about relationships, decisions about pursuing a degree. These are decisions that will affect you. Yes, will affect individuals in your family as well. But the main person, the main important decision maker here is you. That is your agency, to be able to, and work in your workplace and in at home, to be able to make such decisions on your own without being threatened, without fear of losing something, be that a family, a relationship, a husband, ties with family members. All of these things may affect your ability, or our ability as women, to have agency in making decisions that will affect us ourselves. So keeping these two in mind, in addition to within our under the umbrella of leadership identity, we would like to talk about some actionable practices and behaviors that help us women, because that's the purpose of our talk today, but also help people in general, men and women, to develop leadership identity. There are two main points that I would like to talk about today. Continuing to reflect, and it's a key thing to continue to reflect on what we're doing, why we're doing it. Be purposeful about this reflection. It can't be that I'm sitting and thinking about what happened. No, you have to have a specific process of thinking, questions to ask yourself, questions about the events that take place, about your feelings toward those events. Why are you feeling this way? Is this feeling becoming because the events themselves were unfair, or the events themselves were not to your liking, or because, well, you know what, I just didn't like the person who said that. These are two different types of feelings, and the consequences of having those feelings may affect you. The other piece would be to think purposefully about high value actions. It's great to be able to volunteer, to have that passion to help others, to have that passion to advocate. You have to be strategic about doing this, because there are 24 hours in the day and you still have to sleep and go to work. So you have to use that time strategically. Within continuing to reflect, it's important to accept that leadership identity is a growth process. We cannot assume that tomorrow morning, I decide I'm going to be a leader starting tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm a successful leader, well-known, everybody, I have my vision, I have my mission, I have all the things that I would like to do. This is a growth process. It takes steps and sometimes trial and less successful results. Recognizing the subtle and overt gender biases in our context, in our environments. Recognizing them means that we understand that they're taking place. We understand where they're coming from. We understand their consequences, how they affect our life. But also recognize that they will not go away just because I don't like them. I have to have a process of standing up for myself, having agency in that case, without having anger. Because these one of them can ruin the other. Trusting our own voices. Meaning when we speak up at meetings at work, when we present a new idea at work or at a professional organization, we have to have confidence in what we do. We can't just approach these situations with fear and intimidation, sitting back and trying to cross so that I can protect myself. No, be confident about what you are presenting, because you should trust yourself first before expecting anybody else to trust you. Which leads us to trusting ourselves. Don't feel, don't give in to the imposter syndrome phenomena. Oh, well, I'm not really good enough to do this. I'm not sure I have that experience. Investigate. Make sure that you are good enough to do this. Make sure that you have the experience. Make sure you have the knowledge. If you don't have the experience, reach out to somebody, have a team to work with you so that you are confident and you know that you can do the job. Being purposeful and taking purposeful high value actions. Deborah, would you like to share this point?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Doa. And I'm seeing some notes in the chat where folks are agreeing with you. So coming back to my being assigned the secretarial role, right? I was assigned it, and I was junior faculty, and so I had to do that work. But I turned it around and I turned it into something a little more high value. I used that as an opportunity. As I said, I signed my name to those notes. I didn't just hand them to somebody else. I sent them around through email. So I was creating visibility for myself. And the fact that I wrote the notes, I was the one who put it into my own words. And so I actually used that as an opportunity to turn that low level secretarial job into something that was high value. I became at the center of the conversation. I became the one who understood what was going on, et cetera. But all of us can do that. Focus, as Doa has said, being strategic, doing the high value actions. Looking at, if you can, to the extent you can, get rid of this stuff that is low value and do the high value, and make sure folks see you doing the high value work. Advocating on our own behalf, but also I'd like to build on what Doa has mentioned already, advocating for each other. So right now, all of us are in the room, and at the moment, Doa and I have the mic. But how many times have we referenced others? We brought Crystal back into the room, right? We brought Lubna back into the room. We brought Abigail back into the room because we referenced their works. I know that when I'm not in the room, Doa is mentioning me, and Doa knows that when she's not in the room, I'm mentioning Doa. We're building each other, we're amplifying each other. And when there are ideas, we're not just saying that there are ideas, we're attaching them to a female colleague, right? It's being a good colleague for in any way, but advocating for ourselves, advocating for each other, building alliances, which is networking, et cetera. And then of course, I'd like to come to the last point, getting a mentor and being a mentor. Doa and I have been working together with Marilyn Teasel and the president of Marilyn Teasel, Drew Fagan, on a mentoring program. We've been doing this for a while, and we have been developing mentors. We are coaching mentors, and they are in turn mentoring others. So being a mentor and developing mentor is very important. So these are some of the practices that we have seen other women take, and there are so many more. We don't have time to talk about more, but these are some of the highlights. But overall, when we do this strategically and intentionally, we do develop our leadership skills and can help others. Doa, back to you.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that when Deborah and I started this work, we started 2 years ago, I think, 2 years ago, when we had the idea for the book. We're writing or co-editing a book on female leadership identity in the field of TESOL, or English language teaching, to be broad. And the contributions, Amira Salama, who is the president, is actually one of our contributors. The contributions come from all over the world. We have female leaders sharing their journey to develop leadership identity, their challenges, the successes that they have had, the support that they received at work, and from their colleagues and their friends, and how they built a community at the work in order to achieve their goals, because they are not alone. Then they shouldn't be alone as well. So that work really led to us starting talking about providing mentorship program to Marilyn Teasel. We're co-developing, we're delivering the mentorship program together. We're building from our understanding of those experiences of those women. So each new project that we take on, we're building on something new. Recently, I received the TESOL Leadership and Management Award, and I would like to engage in the next year. I would like to engage in conversations with the TESOL affiliates about how to connect them with the international TESOL as a way of developing structure and having a pipeline of leaders from all over the world engaged in the TESOL organization, both in the affiliates and in the TESOL International Organization. So what we're doing here is we're just building a line of ideas that together they revolve around the idea of leadership and leadership identity in our field. So thinking about this is our vision for the work that we are doing. We're developing as leaders, but we're also trying to build understanding or to develop understanding in our field about leadership and leadership identity. I'm sorry. It's pursuing goals that align with our personal values, vision for impact. This is the key point of what we're trying to do. And we hope that as you think about your leadership identity, you think about your values, your personal values, professional pursuit, what you would like to be in 5 years, what you would like to be in 10 years, and have a plan and see who in the process can help you really achieve this plan and make it successful. Finally, we welcome conversations in the future, collaborations. Feel free to email us. We have great ideas to work with colleagues overseas. So if you have an idea to work with us, we would be really happy to discuss this with you. And if you have any questions, please put them on in the chat.
Yeah, I see it.
Yes, there is a question.
Yeah, I see a question from Mawa, and thank you, Mawa. He asks, is women leadership jeopardizing men's roles? I love this question, if I may. Yes, great question. Yeah. So there is an expression that sometimes for people who have been in power, when there are equitable practices, somehow they feel disenfranchised. In other words, if you've been the one who has been in power, when all of a sudden there's equity and inclusivity, somehow those folks can feel as if they are now the victim. And that's not what we're talking about here, right? When we're talking about bringing women into the fold, elevating women, it doesn't mean that we're reducing anybody else. Together we rise. So sharing power doesn't mean that you are any less of a leader. Doa, would you like to add to my
Right.
comment?
And I actually would like to connect to this to the second question: does women leadership affect their femininity? And because I think these are kind of like two sides to the same coin. Leadership is a role. It means that you have a vision to help, to have an impact. You can have an impact in your community. You can have an impact in your family. A lot of parents that we see in life, they get married, they have children, they raise children, become grandchildren, and they have no idea how they did it. And then you meet a parent and you realize, oh, they are talking to their kid in a way that they are actually instilling values in that kid. So every single interaction in their parenting is an act of leadership. Man or a woman, father or a mother, they understand what they're doing. They have a purpose. They have a goal to achieve from interacting day to day in and day out with their children. You have a person who have a shop in a street. And I'm thinking, small streets where I come from in Egypt, small streets where there is this senior person in the community, a man who has been, in this shop selling cheese and bread and, a community shop in the street. He knows everybody in the street. He understands what's going on. He's keeping an eye on the kids. He is aware of the dangers in the street, and he's trying to protect kids that are not his. That is an act of leadership. A man or a woman, it doesn't matter. So when it comes to becoming a leader and developing a leadership, both genders, I was trying not to use this word, but both have the ability to do this. It's because of societal challenges and barriers. Women have always been left behind in doing that. So a man doesn't get offended or affected or feel threatened when another man in the room is being, praised for being a leader. He may get jealous. He thinks that he is also a good leader, but that he will not feel like he is, it will not affect his masculinity in any way or shape. He is still a man. He's still successful. He still has this confidence. While if a woman is being praised for her leadership roles, most men will feel, or some men in the room will feel, threatened. Why? If you're a man and you are worried about this, think why is another man's success will not affect your masculinity, but another woman's success affects their masculinity? This is the change in the way we're thinking that we would like to see, that we view each other equally. And the success that we achieve is what defines the work that we do, not the gender, not what we're dressed, not whatever pronoun that we're using to define ourselves. These are not as important.
Those are wonderful thoughts, Doa, wonderful questions. I really love your questions. And I think we need to conclude. And I think there's a comment in the chat box that we really can end on. And I thank you, Deborah Healy. Deborah says the expression "a rising tide raises all boats" may be useful to have here. So we'll give Deborah the last word, shall we? Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deborah and Dr. Doa, for this insightful presentation. It was excellent and it was professional, actually. And now we are going to start with Ms. Rose Kaino. Ms. Rose, she's going to have a presentation titled "My Journey from Being a Mentee to Becoming a Mentor within Africa ELTA." She is a certified EFL teacher with 10 years experience, a part-time language instructor at American Language Center, Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement alumnus, a member of Burkina Faso English Teachers Association and Africa ELTA as well. She is passionate about teaching, learning, and experience sharing. So the floor is yours, Ms. Rose. Are you ready?
Yes. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can. Yes, you can. You can do it now.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yes. Yes.
So thank you very much for giving me the floor. As she said, I'm Rose Kienu from Burkina Faso, and happy Women's Day to all of you. I'm gonna talk about my journey from being a mentee to becoming a mentor with Africa ELTA. And I'm going to talk about around 3 points. So how did I know about Africa ELTA and the mentoring period and the impact on my life? So I can say that it's one of my colleagues that shared with me the information about the mentoring program. And he told me, oh, Rose, I think that you feel all the condition and you can apply. And I just told him, you know, we are looking for just 8 women in Africa. Do you think that I can apply? And he told me, yes, go on, just try. And I tried and I was just accepted and I went through the training. Let me tell you that the mentoring period was really impactful. It was really good. When we write our, what can I say? Our problems, if I can say that, we meet in the educations. I was paired with the perfect mentor. I was paired with Brian, a teacher trainer. We had 8 hours time zone difference. So imagine how we struggle to get trained. I remember that sometimes it's not easy. It was not easy for her because she would be at midnight while I would be around 6 or 7 coming back from school. But really, she was dedicated. She was really a woman leader. She helped me a lot. During this mentoring program, I learned about how to write an abstract. Before that, I had not any idea of what was an abstract, not talking about how to write it. With her also, I learned how to conduct a workshop. Beyond the Africa ELTA mentoring, she teaches me a lot of things, like the Teacher's Cafe. She invited me to join and to share my experience. And from there, I drew my strength, and also I came back in Burkina Faso. It was online. I implement it in Burkina Faso with Burkina English Teacher Association. And also how to present online. I had some idea on how to present face-to-face, but online, it was difficult for me. It was not easy. We are not used to presentations online, but with her, really, it was wonderful. She first asked me, what do you want to talk about? As a good mentor, she didn't just impose me a topic. So, what's your problem? What do you want to talk about related to school? And I tell my problems. And she asked me, what do you think you can do to solve this problem? And I start thinking. Say, okay, the problem with my student is about speaking. And I'm thinking about some activities that I can use to develop their speaking and listening skills. Because we are a French-speaking country, it's not easy. Sometimes after 7 years at secondary schools, our students are not able just to hold a simple conversation in English. So it's not easy. And also, some teachers, they don't know which type of activity to develop so that the pupils, the student, can to put the love of English in the students. So I, with my mentor, Brianna, we try to develop some activities, adapt it to my context. Because if you have a knowledge, it depends where you are in the world, you know, you need to adapt it, to contextualize it according to your context. So I try to do it. And before coming to present our final presentation, I went in my classroom and I tried the activity and it was successful. So it was not a mere talk. It was a presentation that I have applied in class with my student. I saw the result. I applied again the second activity. I saw the result and I came and I presented on the final presentation. And the impact on my life after this, it was really great. On the final day, I remember we presented in January. So in January, it was just like that, and also in live on Facebook. And there, some teachers from Burkina Faso also joined. And I didn't know that much about our association, our Burkina English Teacher Association. And from there, someone after my presentation called me at the end when I gave my numbers. Oh, are you Rose from Burkina? I say, yes. Okay, I'm also a Burkinabe. I would like you, a board member of Beta. I would like you to come and just share your presentation with us. Come and organize a kind of workshop to help the teachers, because some really want to improve the students' speaking skills, but they lack activities. I say, okay, why not? And the next week, the next coming week, everything was ready and I went there to share my knowledge. And let me tell you, it was really amazing. About 30 teachers coming from all around Burkina Faso came and to participate to this training. And also, as a teacher in English as a foreign language teacher in Burkina Faso, we had the opportunity to apply for the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program from the United States. And the mentoring program really helped me a lot. Yes. When I went for the interview, they asked me to know if really I will come back and share my knowledge. And I told them yes, because 1 month ago, I was presenting my final presentation and I told them about the mentoring program of Africa ELTA and how I started sharing my knowledge formally and informally and what I could do when I will be back. And it helped me a lot. And I was granted the full funded scholarship to go to the United States and to be trained, and I'm back and I'm still sharing my knowledge. This also is thanks to Africa ELTA mentoring program. And I can say that once there, as you can see in the picture, in the back, these skills that I learned on how to present internationally helped me. This was taken, if I remember, on last year on the 9th March, also for the Black History Month in the United States, where I was given the opportunity to address to more than 200 people gathered for this activity. And this are also through the mentoring program that I was able to stand in front of so many people to talk. And in Burkina Faso also, I'm continuing to help my fellows. Here, these are medical students. So from time to time, they have to deliver speeches in front of the sick persons, or sometimes to train them on some diseases. And I was invited there just to help them, how to teach them how to present. when you are in front of people, when you are online, and it was really good and it was successful also. For Burkina English Teacher Association, here I have conducted a training with 3 of my fellows, my colleagues, on how to use technology in class. That was my topic. And my fellow also colleagues have also shared about some different topics. This also was due to the Africa ELTA mentoring program that I'm really grateful to Africa ELTA, because professionally on my life and in the life of others, it has a positive impact. We have also from mentee to mentor. When President Amira called me last year, said, oh, Rose, we want to just go for a second training of mentee. Would you like to be a mentor? I said, yes, why not? Thank you for the opportunity, because if you receive something, you need to share. And I was following Mrs. Deborah and Doa saying that get as tips, getting a mentor and being a mentor. This was an opportunity for me to be a mentor in Africa ELTA. You can imagine my joy, and I was really eager. And let me tell you that they paired me with the exact mentee, as I was paired with my exact mentor, Brianna. I was paired with Mauna from Tanzania. It was amazing. We shared the common problems. We had the same issues in classrooms. So it was easy for us and to find a topic to discuss. And we have also time zone difference, but it was less, not with my mentor and me. It was just 2 or 3 hours between Tanzania and Burkina Faso. And we became like sister. We have never met, for sure, it's true. But we are like one family. All these things is thanks to Africa ELTA. And you can see, this is Mrs. Mwana and me. We were working on our final presentation, how to just sit in front of a camera with your eye contact, even if you are a kind of talking to your computer or to your cell phone, but you are sure that there are people just behind listening to you, and you have also to see your eye contact, your smile. Here we were working on smile. You can see her. I just take it when she was smiling. So working a lot on that, and it was really amazing. So I would like to thank Africa ELTA, to thank President Amira from thinking to me, from accepting me to be a mentee, and also to accepting me as a mentor in the group. And I told her that I am really willing for the next coming years to just go and be a mentor. And why not getting in touch with Mrs. Rashid Doa and Mrs. Deborah for further training in mentorship, because it's something I really like. I really like sharing my knowledge everywhere I am, even if it is informally or formally. So this is a great opportunity for me to grow as a female leader, because nowadays, you know, it's a very big problem to be a female leader in Africa, as Mrs. I think Christelle was talking about. You have to fight. It's not easy. And I would like to end with the quote of Eleanor Roosevelt, saying that a woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. Meaning what? If you can just type what you think about this quote, the meaning of this quote in the chat box, I will be happy to read it. How do you understand this quote? As a man, as a woman in leadership, how do you understand this quote? I would like to let you my contact. And my name is Rose Kim on Facebook, and my email, Willie Ruth. And you can send me a mail, or you can write questions if you have some question for me. It's personal experience sharing, but maybe I I can answer to some question. And I got through Africa ELTA, I got some friends from all over the world, and we are still in contact. Some teachers, and we are still exchanging. So thank you very much. And I don't know if you have some questions.
So we can wait for questions. Thank you a lot, Rose. You said that you're grateful for Africa ELTA, but let me say that, of course, Africa ELTA is so proud of you as a mentee, a mentor, a leader, presenter, an active member. We're so proud of you. We are honored to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rose. So do we have any questions that you would like to share with Rose? You had a very energetic and insightful presentation.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay. I don't think that we do not have any questions.
No problem. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Yes,
and thank you to Africa ELTA.
With you. Yes, we have many good comments. Congratulations and way to go. Of course, we are so proud of you. And they are saying that you have shared very good experiences.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your successes and for cascading your knowledge. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, and happy Women's Day to everyone.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you. So now we are going to have our last speaker, Fatoumata Dembel from Mali. Okay, are you ready? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So now, So now we are going to have our last speaker, Fatoumata Dembel from Mali. She is the president of Mali Teacher Association, and she is going to have a presentation entitled "My Personal Experience as a Leader from Mali." The floor is yours now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
First of all, I would like to say Happy Women's Day to each of you, and to thank my fellow presenters. They did great presentations, even if I was not online at the beginning, because we are celebrating International Women's Day in my school, which is a girl high school. Yeah. Okay, so today I'm gonna share my experience. It's like I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, something that I don't like too much, but I will do it for Africa ELTA because I prefer people to talk about me, not me myself. Okay, so can you see my screen? Is it okay?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No?
No, we are not seeing the screen. If you are facing any problem, shall I share it for you?
I didn't click on, yeah. Let me.
Okay. So
Is it
I think
okay now?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. There we go. So my presentation today is about my personal experience as a first female teacher of English on MAGE. So this is the content. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about my background, then some of my achievements, some challenges I faced, and some qualities that I have, and will end by a conclusion. So first of all, I'm graduated from the higher teachers training school of Bamako, which is the ENSUP. École Normale Supérieure, 4 years after the baccalaureate. And after that, I start teaching in a mixed school. And at that time, I really think that I had to learn more about teaching. That is why when I started teaching in 2000 in this mixed school, I saw an announcement about a work at Peace Corps as a language and cross-cultural facilitator. So I asked myself, why not go and learn more about teaching? That is why I joined Peace Corps as a language and cross-cultural facilitator from 2002 to 2009. And there I really learned a lot about teaching, about organizing my teaching. Yeah. And after that, I attended many trainings because when you start teaching, there were not many training at that time organized by the Ministry of Education. But anytime I heard about training, I just go and attend it. That's why how I became active member of several organizations, but I will limit myself to MATE, Malian Association of Teachers of English, where I was on MATE board first as the commissioner account of MATE. And then during that term, I was also in charge of the head of pedagogical CPD, continuing pedagogic professional development. And I looked for colleagues who really share their experience with others. Through this, I have met many colleagues from Mali, in Africa, and in the world, who really share their experience with our teachers of English in Mali. And also I am, after this in from 2018 to 2020, many of my colleagues have noticed that I can do something, I can lead the association. And at the beginning, I was not for it because I said that I was not ready. Because if I want to do something, I want to do it good. So that's why I said I was not ready at that time. So, but they said, I can. They even push me. Okay, especially our former president of MATE, Mr. Tamura. Whatever come, he told me, you can. I said, well, how do you know that I can? Because I have noticed that everything we are doing, you do it well. So I tried. That's why I really was candidate for 2020 to be the president of Malian Association of Teachers, which has been created in January 1987. And I was the first female president. And after 2 years, I really would like to stop. And they said that I have to be a president again. I said, wow. So I'm the current president. And as active member also of our, how to say, union, teachers union. I'm a member of it. I'm the treasurer of it. So let us start now. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about my achievement. It was when I started, when I was elected president of Malian Association of Teachers, At that time, the celebration of International Women's Day was not among our celebration, if I can say. So that's why I talked to my board member, why not start celebrating Women's Day, but differently, okay? So because I have noticed that March behaves generally in my country, women celebrating that the celebration of International Women's Day is just is the feast. For me, it should be the contrary, because for me, it's the day we women have to do a kind of reflection about what did we achieve and what can we do now and what remains to be done. So that's why when I came on board in 2020, our first celebration was to organize a conference because it was the time of COVID-19 to talk about what women can do during that time. COVID-19 is also women's affair. That was the topic of the conference. And also in 2021, I organized a one-week training with 10 female teachers. So I talked to a trainer to train 10 female teachers on Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And you can see this picture here. And in addition to that, sorry. Oh, hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you and we are still seeing your presentation, yes.
Yeah, I cannot move with, I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
Let
can
me
you stop
stop.
sharing it?
Yeah.
Yes, reshare it again.
And I will start again. Now. Sorry. Can you please share?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I do hope, yeah, this connection. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, in 2021, as I told you, there were a 1-week training for female teachers of English, and the day of the D-Day, that means on March 8th, 2021, we did a kind of donation of hygienic pads to the 2 girls high school in Bamako. And before giving this donation, we had also a conference to talk about a law that existed in my country, and many women were not aware of it. Yeah, that is law 052. It was a law for equity. So we talked about it, and then we did this donation. Next slide. Next. Okay, and also talking about the achievement with the English Connects project, we did some trainings for English club leaders. Yeah, so this is a picture of this training. Next slide. Okay, and also you have noticed that there are few female teachers leading English clubs. So we talked to the US Embassy to organize a panel discussion with some of them. And during that panel discussion, we talked about our experience to motivate them to be leaders. Okay, and this is about this year. That was last week. We organized a special training session for female teachers with our inspector, because I have noticed that during the trainings, women are really absent. There are few women attending the trainings. And when I exchange with them, most of the time it's due to the fact that they have something else to do. That's why I talked to the inspector to organize really a special training for female teachers about the competence-based approach. Yeah, that was the picture of this training. Next picture. Yeah, this is the inspector and the female teachers, and some men also joined the training. And yesterday also, we had a training on unlock the leadership potential. So the goal of these two trainings was just to empower women to know more about their leadership, what they can do to be leaders. Because I have noticed that most of women are really afraid to take the lead. But if they are trained, or if they see their colleagues at the head sharing their experience, that can push them to take the lead. That's why we organize this training too. Next picture. Okay, this is also a picture of the training where we are joined by the US Embassy. Okay, so this was some achievement, I can say, because as I told you, I have noticed that really women think that during March the 8th, we should just organize a kind of feast. And I really would like them to think out of the box, to see the March the 8th as an event we must use to do something different, to get trained so that we can be competent enough. Okay, so before I become the chair, I really faced some challenges that I'm going to talk about. The first one, we can see that this is a social stereotype. Yeah, everywhere we can notice this. Many people think that women should be at home in the kitchen, but for me, that was in the past. We need to change it. And we can see it every day in our daily life. Some people still think about it. That was one of my first challenge. Another one was when I came on board, really, it was a challenge for me to lead a board 80% composed of men, because as the president of MATES, there are still few women on my board. Really, that was the kind of challenge too. And also to have partnership with local officials, sometimes it's not easy because something that women at the head, they prefer really to see men at the head of association, or they trust more men than women because they think that most of the time we women, we are just there because someone is here to help us. We don't have enough competence to do the job. That was among my challenges too. And the religious belief, most of the time, wow, that was at the level of traveling, for example. As women, if married women, if you have to travel, for example, sometimes it's a kind of, yeah, it's not easier for us. And gender gap too, most of the time, some still think that women should do some job and men should do some job. There are some jobs that we women, we shouldn't do. That is the fault of some people, and it's still what they think. And for me, we have to change this. And how this can be changed? We women should be the first one to change this, because if we women, we are, for example, at the office, because most of the time we think, many women think that we are few women, so men will give us some places. Even if you are given the places, I think that we have to get trained or to show that we really, the place is for us. We are competent enough to do the job. This is what we women should think about it, not just think that I am this because I am a woman that I'm being given this job or this place. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Okay, so talking about some qualities, the first one is volunteering. Whatever I do and whatever is, I'm really volunteer for many things, be it in my school, in my environment, or in my workplace. This is, I think, something that is very important. Be a volunteer to do something without thinking about what am I going to get from this? No, this has always been my last thought. When I have when I can see something, I think about first, what can be the benefit of this to me, to my colleagues, and that's all. Not for me talking about money. And talking about perseverance, one example I'm going to give you is this Zoom meeting. You know, my first time to attend a Zoom meeting, it was with the English workshop with Ellie. And I was really lost. I have been lost so many times using Zoom, but I thought to myself, I won't stop till I am able to use this Zoom. And I think this is really very important. And talking about commitment, you have to be committed to really what you are doing. You have to love it. And flexibility, this is really part of some of my qualities. And talking about emotional, by taking into account every aspect of life. If you are at the head of a board, you have to take this into account. This is a very important aspect. and self-reflection. Self-reflection, as I told you, talking about self-reflection, this is one of my quality, because whatever happened, or I will start by my teaching. After every class, I ask myself, what went wrong? What did I do? No, what did I do good first? And what went wrong? And what can I do to ameliorate next time? And I exchange with my colleagues, even if it's one of my colleagues who started teaching this year. I ask him. This is one of my quality, I can say. And self-regulation also, this especially during International Women's Day. This is something very important for us women to think about what we did and what we must do and what remains to be done. And as conclusion, for me, we women, we are at the beginning and the end of leading everything, be it the house, be it everywhere, especially leading an association. It's not easy, but every time think about the challenge. Don't think that something is difficult. If you think that something is difficult, you won't be able to find a solution for it. Always think that it is a challenge, and I'm going to turn this challenge into opportunities. And leading a teachers association is not an easy task, but for me, every woman is really a leader. There is a leader inside every woman to make a difference, especially during International Women's Day. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you a lot, Fatty, for sharing all your achievements with Africa ELTA. I think that we all enjoyed and of course got inspired by this. We appreciate this a lot. Thank you a lot for being with us. So if you have any questions you can share with Fatty, please do. Yes, so we have good comments. Of course, they are thanking you for your inspiring story, and you did well, of course. And Dr. Deborah has an excellent comment for you, and she said that she appreciates your comment when you said to remember that we love that, to remember what we love to do, and we can build on our passion and values. So of course, this was very motivational. Okay, so also Dr. Deborah said, thank you a lot. Great point about how women often need to be encouraged to become leaders, and men often assume they can do it. So of course, we are all thanking you for this great presentation. Fatty, you did well. Thank you a lot. So again, if you have any questions that you can share, please do.
Thank you. Maybe I just would like to add that
Yeah.
Today you can see on my face that I'm a little bit tired. It's because till the morning we are celebrating the International Women's Day in our school, and our students are cooking traditional foods. It's a kind of competition they are doing.
Excellent.
Yeah, with
Excellent.
conferences, everything. Yeah.
Excellent. But although you are so tired, but you did very well, and we all got motivated by your presentation. And we have a question here. Somebody's asking you what Mawa Sam, she's asking you what inspired you most to take the lead at math?
Wow. What inspired me a lot? I will say, first of all, my late cousin, who was an inspector of English, and also men, generally men, my colleagues from Mali, by starting by my former president and my colleagues from Senegal, especially Dr. Mawa Sam, the one who is asking the question. And I told him that I can't because it's difficult. I cannot. He said, no, you can. If you want, you can. So, yeah, I think mostly he himself, my late cousin and my colleagues, generally men.
Yes. And we have also another question. How do you reconcile family life and professional life?
Wow. Very interesting question. It's not easy. To tell you the truth, it's not easy at all because I'm always out. I'm always out attending with different activities. But what I can do is that I organize myself because I cook during the weekend so that I can do my activities because I'm living too far from my schools, about 25 kilometers. And I leave home at 6 or 6:30 every day. So even today I leave at 6:30 and I really don't know when I'm going back because after this meeting, I have to play football. There is a football match. Yeah. It's not easy, but it's a challenge, but I can manage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is success, actually. So enjoy your success, Patty. So do we have any other questions? Okay. So I think that's all. Thank you a lot, Patty, and thanks for all our presenters, those who left and those who are still attending. And of course, thanks to all our attendees. We hope that you have enjoyed this online event celebrating International Women's Day, and see you in other events for Africa ELTA. Thank you a lot.
Really thank Africa ELTA for organizing this day for us. It's really important for us. Thank you, and thanks to all
of course, it wouldn't be, yes, it wouldn't be without all of you presenters and participants and the attendees, of course. Yes, you are our success partners. Thank you.
And it makes us happy because we can say that on March 8th, 2023, we had a presentation. That's what we really need. We need to just have a kind of self-reflection to say that day I did this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very important for us. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. Thank you. Okay. Bye. Bye, all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, all of you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Rose. I like your presentation. I couldn't follow up of yours, but they were all great. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.